Hello everyone, my name is Richard. I'm going to show you how to use the brand new Google Classroom. So when you visit Google, the first thing you'll need to do to get to Google Classroom is if you click on the little apps section up here, what you'll be able to do is scroll down and find Google Classroom. It might be on the second page, it might be on the first page, it might have moved around for different people. Mine's just here, but you can also access it by going and visiting classroom.google.com. So you've got a couple of options there. And when you first visit Google Classroom, if you haven't signed in already, you'll just need to sign in. But I'm already signed into my Google account, so it's just come up straight away. And the first thing you'll see is you've got a class here that I've already got set up, and I don't have any students in it, but this is a class. You just see some overview, some different things that are set up, ready for this class. But let's start from the very basics and talk about how to actually start a class. So you'll need to go to this little plus sign at the top here and a little pop-up that says create or join a class. So I click that, you get the two options, join class or create class. So join class will allow you to join an existing class. So maybe you've got a colleague who's already set up a class and they've invited you to join. So you could do it through there. But I'm going to create my own class now to show you what that looks like. So let's go in here. Now a little pop-up comes up here that says basically if you're working using Google Classroom in a school, make sure you have G Suite for Education set up. That's just to make sure that that's all working properly. But lots of people use Google Classrooms in lots of different ways, not just schools. So this is just to check this. So just check that box to once you've read and understood it and agree with it, and then you can click continue. So then it asks for some basic details. So first of all, class name. So I'm going to give my class name. It's going to be a Year 9 class. The coding in my school is something like this, Year 9 Maths, Set 4. The section you can think of almost like the period that you're teaching this class in. So I'm going to say period 5, for example. And the subject for me in this case is Maths. Comes up with a couple of options there, which is quite nice. And the room is just, again, you can just use that for whatever room naming you have in your school. So I'm going to call it something that we have in ours. So it's room 2.05. So then when I click create, that's then created that class. And, well, you give it a second, it will just whir and it will take a moment, but then it will create that class for you. Obviously at the moment, you've not got any students or anything in it, so it's just an empty classroom, if you think about it. Now there's some pop-ups here that give you a little understanding of how to get started. So first of all, this one's talking about creating an announcement. So share an announcement with your class, and you can do that in this box. If you don't want to do that straight away, you can just click next. So also you can reuse announcements. It's a really nice feature. So if you've got announcements that you've done before, rather than having to type them out again, you can just go in and click this button and you'll be able to select the announcement you want to use again, which will save you a bit of time. So that's just a couple of little pointers to start off with. The really nice thing about Google Classroom is every time you revisit a new page, it gives you like a couple of little pointers so you know exactly where you should be going, and you can sort of slowly get used to how Google Classroom works. Now, there's 4 main sections to Google Classroom that you need to be aware of. So within this Year 9 Maths class that I've set up, you've got Stream, you've got Classwork, you've got People, and you've got Marks. So to quickly just talk through what each of those are, Stream is almost like the message board here. So you can see here I'm in Stream at the moment, and it talks about communicating with my class. And there's a couple of things I can do here. We've also got Classwork. Now that is where you can think about actually assigning stuff for your class to do. You can then look at People, so that talks about the students and teachers that were within that class. And then the Marks is almost like your mark book. So hopefully those are pretty straightforward just from the name they've been given. But let's have a look at them in a bit more detail. So the Stream, first of all, you've got some basic details at the top here of your class. They automatically select these photos for you, which is quite a nice thing, but you can change a photo if you want, or the theme. But here you can communicate with your classes, so you can either create and schedule announcements or respond to students' posts. So that's something else to notice, is that students can also respond in here. It's a way to have really good dialogue with your students so that they can see what you're writing, you can see what they're writing, students can discuss and things like that. So let's have a go at creating our first post. So share something with your class. So you'll first see, once I click on that, opens a little box, and you can choose first of all who is this for. So I can choose if I want this announcement to be for multiple classes, I can do that. But I'm just going to keep it for this Year 9 class. And you can also choose different segments of students. So at the moment I've got all students selected, but as more students join this class, you could assign to individuals or groups depending on what you wanted. Now, what I want to do is make sure that they know to fill in the form. Fill in the fill in the school trip form by Friday. And remind us to do that. Something to note: you can add here, so you can there's lots of different functionality on Google Classroom that allows you to link from a Google Drive. If you're not familiar with Google Drive, it's basically a folder that you store on your Google account, and you can add different files from there. You can also add a link, so say you wanted to link to something like Seneca, you can do that by putting the link in here. You can also attach a file from your computer itself, and you can also link from YouTube, and that will just allow you to search YouTube and upload a video. But I'm just going to leave that for now. And you can choose here either just post straight away, or there's a little drop down here which is quite a couple of useful things. You can save that draft for later if you're not quite done with it and you're going to come back to it at another time. You can also schedule that post. So say you don't want that post to go out straight away to students, you can schedule it and decide when it goes out at a later date. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just post it now, so it goes out to all my students. Again, you give it a moment, and here I go. Here it goes. There is my announcement to my class. Now, it would have been probably nice for me to maybe include an image of the form or a link to the form, and I could have done that if I'd wanted to, but through those different options. Now, the other thing to notice is that we've got an options section here. So these three dots here, wherever you see that on Google Classroom, that basically means options. So if I click on that, you can edit, delete, or you can copy a link to this announcement, which you can then use to direct your students to. And you'll see below here there's add class comments. This is where students or you as a teacher can add comments on the announcement that you've made. So that's Classstream. Think of it as like the message board basically of your classroom. So your students can come in here and see exactly what it is that's going on, and you can make announcements and things like that. Also quite a handy little feature, if there are upcoming assignments that you're set, and I'll show you how to do those assignments in a second, you can just set them here, or that you'll see them upcoming here. So, moving on to Classroom. So, there's a few different things you can do in Classroom. First of all is create assignments and questions. You can also use topics to organise classwork into different modules or units, and you can also order work in the way that you want students to see it. So this is where you're thinking about how to set work for your students and how you want it to be displayed. So the first thing you'll notice is this big blue button up here to create your first piece of content to go into the classwork section. So if I click here, you've got a few different options. So first of all is an assignment. So this is just you want them to do something, and you can set a start and an end date for that. An assignment quiz allows you to create a Google form, which is basically a bit like you can create like multiple choice quizzes or short form answer quizzes through that. You can also ask just a single question if you want to. The different material you can also upload. So say you wanted to upload maybe an extract of a book or something like that, or a source from a historical source in a history lesson, you can upload some material. And again, like we had before, remember when you could reuse the announcement, you can also reuse old posts that you've done if you'd like as well. Now this last one, topic, is you can see this faint bar between there. That's just because it's slightly separate, and that's just to basically allow you to organise how you display your work, and I'll show you a bit about what that looks like in a second. But let's first of all go and create an assignment. So I click in here, say I want to create an assignment, and I'm thinking actually it'd be good for me to remind my students about their assignment on Seneca. So what I can do is I can create a Seneca Week 5 assignment, say, And instructions, please join, let's say please complete the Seneca assignment here. And again, you can add different things to this, so you can add links, something from Google Drive, a file, or a YouTube video, exactly like you did before. And you can also choose to create stuff as well. So if you want to add a Google Doc, which is basically Microsoft Word but on Google, slides, which is the same as a PowerPoint, sheets is the same as Excel, a drawing is like your paint, if you like, and then a form is like it's basically like a something you'd fill in. So like multiple choice questions or short form answer questions that you want your students to answer. You can add any of those if you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try adding a link, because this is a Seneca assignment I'm going to set. I can add a link. So you click link and it just straight away comes up with a link. So if I go onto my Seneca account and I want to set an assignment in here, so in the same way as I normally would on Seneca, I'd go in here, I would create an assignment for my students, create assignment, choose the course that I want them to study. So let's go for this chemistry course. And then I can select any of the content that's already on Seneca. There's loads, if you haven't come across Seneca before, there's loads of really good stuff on here. It's a mixture of content and questions, and you get nice data on it as well. So one other thing while I'm here on Seneca is it's quite nice. I really like this estimation of how long it's going to take. It's really easy to plan what you want for your students. So then I can click assign. On here on my Seneca assignment, I can choose who I want to set it for. I can set it for everyone, or I can just set it for a few different people. It's up to me what I choose. Let's go for everyone. And I can give it a name. So let's go for the same name in here. So Seneca Week 5 assignment. So again, start and end date I can set as well. I'm just going to leave them for now. So then it says nice and easy. I can either copy the link. So that's probably the easiest way, as I've got the link already, the option already here. I can copy that link by clicking that copy invite link button. And then I can go in here and I can paste it into here. So when I add that link, students will then basically be directed straight to that assignment that I've set. While I'm here, actually, let's just finish this first. If I just look down these options here, so again, I can set it for multiple classes if I want. Again, I can think about which segments of students I want to set it to. I can assign a number of points if that's interesting to you, or you can just put it as unmarked. And I can put a due date as well, if needs be. And then I can set it a topic. So I'm gonna put no topic for the moment. And the reason for that is I'll show you how topics work in a second. So what I can do is then click assign. But again, like I did earlier, I can click this little down arrow at the side here and I can choose to schedule or save that if I want. But I'll just click assign for now. So what that will happen is, here we go, nice little, this is what I was talking about earlier, how it sort of talks you through the process as it goes. So use topics to organise classwork into modules. So this is why I wasn't talking about topics earlier, because I wanted to do it now. So at the moment, this assignment is just on its own. It's not under any topic or anything like that. But what I can do is create some topics. So let's say this is a maths class, isn't it? So let's do something like algebra. That's one topic. I want to create another topic that's shape. I want to create another topic that's number. And each time you can just go create, then topic, and then choose what you want. Now at the moment, you can see this assignment isn't falling under any of these sections that I've added. But what I can do, if I just go in here and click on the three dots again and click edit, again I can just then go in and select the topic I want it to go under and update that by clicking save. And that will then, hey presto, it's popped under that number section, that number topic, as I said here. So yeah, that's a really nice way to organise your different work, your different content into different topics. Now on here, on each of these topics, you can choose also to have different options. So you can rename them, delete them, copy a link to them, and also reorder them. So say I want to have a shape at the top, I can move this number down just by clicking that, and that will just reorder them. And however you display it on your screen here will be the same way as the students see it as well. A couple of other things to mention on this page is your links to Google Calendar and Class Drive folders. Now, the Class Drive folder is a really handy tool, which is basically, it allows you to share documents just with this class, and it's automatically set up, this folder. So it's anything you upload into here will be seen by your students in this class. So, for example, I can add new, and I can add different Google Docs. So remember, that's like Word, this is like Excel, and this is like PowerPoint. But you can also upload different files from your computer as well, so then they will automatically be shared with your students. So again, a really handy tool for you to share resources with your students remotely. And then we've got Google Calendar. Now that will just help you to basically schedule in the work, and anything you add in as an assignment will go in there as well. So that's all of the classwork section. There's some other really handy tools in here. If you don't want to use something like a Seneca assignment, you want to create your own assignment, you can use the quiz assignment, which will basically create that sort of multiple choice quizzes or short form answer quizzes. But to be honest, I just tend to use Seneca because there's a lot of content already on there, and it makes my life a lot easier if I don't have to create content myself. So, moving on to the next section, which is people. So what you'll see first of all is you'll see we've got one teacher in here, which is me doing this account. So you'll also see different students. So there's a little invite here, or a little sort of notification here to invite your students to share this code with them. Now when you share that code with a student, they can type that in to join your class. But there's also other ways of adding your students as well. So for example, you hover over here, it just comes up with a little invite student, and you can type the name or email address of a student, and you'll be able to invite them by clicking invite down here. And likewise on Google Classroom, really useful feature is that you can share your classes with others. So if you again click share here, you can invite other teachers to this class, so then they can see what's in this class, they can add to it, they can set assignments and all the stuff you can do, but they just give you another option. So, on to the last section, marks. Now, marks doesn't tend to make any sense, really, if you don't have any students, but just to quickly talk through what it actually does is any of the Google Forms or anything like that, all the data is automatically put into here. Unfortunately, at the moment, there's no integration from something like Seneca to bring those marks in straight away automatically, but you can also upload CSV files. So what I tend to do is I download the CSV files from Seneca and I upload them into here so that I can see students' marks as well. So this will basically be your mark book of Google Classroom, so you can see what your pupils are up to. So that's sort of everything that Google Classroom provides you. Think of it as sort of a way for you to, as I say, communicate with your students through Stream, set work for your students through Classwork, manage the students in your class through People, and then monitor the students in your class through Marks. Last thing I want to show you is, so when you're in here, I find it sometimes not that obvious how you get back to see your other classes. So just to note, these little three lines up here, if you click there, you'll see a few options down the side here. So you've got classes and calendar. You've also got a to-do list, which again is quite handy if you, depending on how you like to work, if you like to add things to do list electronically, that's a good way to do it on here. And you can go straight into other classes. But if I just go back to the sort of classes page, it takes you to the overview, and you'll see this class that we've been working in, the Year 9 Maths class, and then you can see my other Year 10 English class here as well, with various different links. This one opens the student record cards, which is basically the sort of the mark book that we talked about, and this one goes to the Google Drive, which is that folder that's shared with all your students. If you want to click the three dots here as well, you can also move these around, edit them, copy it, or archive. Now, copy I think is a really interesting one to talk about. So that will basically copy everything in that class, the announcements and everything like that, but it won't transfer any students. So say you want to have set up a class with the same announcement, or set up multiple classes, sorry, with the same announcement, but you have different students in those classes. You can do that through this copy feature. If you click it, it will just give you an option to make a new name. Let's say it's a year 9, but set 3 this time, and I teach them in a different period and the same room. I can click copy, and again give it a second. And it creates that class for you. Here you go. Again with a slightly different image so you can identify them quickly. And as I say, everything will copy into there, but I'll just go in here and archive that now, and that's just basically to get rid of classes you don't need anymore. So the last bit here I wanted to show you was just this move. So if you just want to reorder them, I think they're ordered by alphabetically normally, but what you can do is you can just reorder them. So you can go like that, and it just reorders them for you. So that's a really useful tool if you want to just think about how you're doing that. So hopefully that's given you a really good rundown of how to get started with Google Classroom and how you can use websites like Seneca with it. If you've got any questions, please leave them below in the comments, and I'll try and get back to them for you. But also, if you've got any other requests or any other videos, any other platforms you want me to talk you through, then please do comment below, and I'll do my best to get those done for you. Best of luck.